KingofPodcasts.com proudly presents the Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us. Brought to you by KingofAmazon.com. KOP is all about Amazon, and so should you. Go to King of Podcasts special link at KingofAmazon.com.
Here we go, episode 581 of the Wrestling is Real podcast. Thanks for being here. Well, into year number 9 of the program, we're going to go ahead and talk about tonight WWE's TLC pay-per-view for 2020 to wrap up the pay-per-view season, and Ring of Honor's Final Battle we'll take a quick look at, because we haven't had a chance to talk about Ring of Honor, what they've been doing since they came back on with their own reset, and we'll go ahead and bring up what they've been doing until late. Take a few minutes to go ahead and bring up what I saw, what the pay-per-view I saw of on last night, because I didn't get to watch it on Friday night. Meantime, I could go ahead, and I'm sure everyone else could go ahead and ramble on for hours on the Firefly Inferno match, which was a horrible idea for a main event, which was a horrible idea for a match. This is a testament to how badly booked Bray Wyatt has been booked. Really, it's jaw-dropping. Bray Wyatt was so well booked in NXT, and I can't say there's been a time where I really thought that Bray Wyatt was taking off. Now, there's a difference between him being a big guy, being able to wrestle in the ring, but then having to be attached to the character and how he wrestles. Again, he doesn't wrestle great matches. I mean, it's not like he can't wrestle. It's just the way they have him wrestling now has been tough. And the Bray Wyatt character, which was such a great idea in the first place, has just been really run badly for the most part. By the way, we did not see Alexa Bliss at all, right? None of her at all, which is what was the new thing that really made things stand out in everything that was going on between Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, because they brought her into the mix. And she was a focal point, and she's been gone since. I don't understand why, but there is that going on. And then fire. That's your storyline going into the show out of a really record low Raw, which finished with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, and Bray Wyatt being tossed into a box and put on fire. And tonight, we see once again Bray Wyatt, his whole body put on fire, which you could tell they made a quick switcheroo before they set the whole damn thing on fire. Now, was it Kane that he had the Inferno match and the same idea happened again? But yeah, we're going to go back to that one more time, right? We just can't help ourselves. The creative team just cannot help themselves by doing another Inferno match tonight. I don't know why. They just felt like they wanted to do it. Couldn't help themselves. Let's do it one more time. Kane and Bray Wyatt fought in a Ring of Fire match. Remember, they didn't call it Inferno match, but it was basically the same thing. Ring of Fire match at SummerSlam 2013. And that was the first match of the night. This is the main event of TLC. Now, for whatever reason, WWE decided that we wanted to go and have this match close things out, and not the TLC matches, the focus of the pay-per-view. I mean, they call the pay-per-view as that such. But here we don't have that. I don't know. If we did have a chair, we had the rocking chair. But again, this match could have been cinematic. That's what I thought they were going to do it, but no, they decided to do it in the Thunderdome. I didn't like it. This is going to get panned. Excuse me, it's panned, right? This is going to get panned by everybody. I'm really curious as to how many people are going to really shit on this match tonight, because it deserves it. If we're going to do Slammy Awards on Wednesday morning, and you want to pick worst matches of the year, I think this and Eye for an Eye are neck and neck right now for worst match of the year. This is a testament to WWE right now, where they are hurting so badly with all the things they've been doing, with just using gimmicks just to kind of spur up bad feuds. When I look at Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, I think Randy Orton, they just need to give him somebody to go up against. And they've had them against each other before. The lead up to the match, just the video that he did, the retcon video to lead up to the match tonight was pretty good. I'll give him that. The Firefly Carol, that was actually pretty well done. The match never paid it off at all. Just saying. It's more of a symbolic gesture of how bad the booking has been of this company. When you're running out of things to do with two stars that you have run to the ground because you've had them out there for so long, Randy Orton has been on top and has been at or near main event his entire career. And there is only so much threshold we can take of Randy Orton and what he can do and what he's able to do. In this match, he really couldn't do much with this. I mean, this is not a opponent that Randy Orton shines off of. But Randy Orton working with Bray Wyatt, that's significant. But again, Bray Wyatt, as the Fiend, has not had a good feud at all. Braun Strowman, Seth Rollins, this has all been bad. The Seth Rollins, I mean, we had to go through that all last year and some into this year. Horrible. No, it was all 2019. Horrible. And this year's been no different. And it's because, I don't know. This wouldn't have done any better in front of a crowd. They couldn't have done it in front of a crowd. Not the way they had it set up. Because you would have had to have the ring set around on fire as opposed to the Inferno like they did this time. That's an interesting look, sure. But again, they did the same thing in Ring of Fire. They just had every time there was a move that happens, Kevin Dunn says, hit the heat. Okay. I will admit the thought of having the fire lit to the chair was pretty good. I mean, for what was worth, the stunt being pulled, and then the way they did the switcheroo with Bray Wyatt's body not being there and using the dummy to burn that alive. Okay, I get that part. But overall, these Inferno matches, you're just asking for it. And again, this was a gimmick that they thought was really necessary. It's funny, in the history of the company, they've done 5 of these matches. First time they did it, it's something out of the Attitude Era. Okay? That was Kane and Taker. And Unforgiven. 98, excuse me. Then Undertaker and Kane did it again, February 99. Triple H against Kane. And Kane versus MVP at Armageddon 2006. Why we want to try to make the Fiend the next Kane? It doesn't make sense to me. But they are trying to do that. They are trying to use him as the next Kane. That's not a thing to try to become. They were doing a bad job with the Kane character at the end as well. We saw what they were doing with him and John Cena. My thing is, you just can't keep going back to this over and over again. It just doesn't work. Of the matches we saw tonight, we did see some pretty decent matches. I'll give it that. AJ Styles, Drew McIntyre, and the cash-in by The Miz. Yeah, that all worked out. And Drew winning, very good match. Very good match. And AJ Styles, I'm really surprised at his age he can still continue to go like he does. Especially in a match like this, because it just takes out so much. They really did a whole lot to themselves. So that match was very well done. They gave it a whole lot of time, by the way. 27 minutes for that match. Most of any match of the night. But again, it's the story that we're trying to tell. Not so much with AJ Styles, but it's just the fact that you knew that you're going to have Miz having the cash in that Money in the Bank briefcase at some point. Because with the Miz, you weren't going to let him go into WrestleMania season still holding on to that. You needed some finality of that. Like, I don't think you could have him go in and continue to have that briefcase going into WrestleMania season, into Royal Rumble time. It wouldn't work. I don't think they don't want Miz to have it. Again, Miz was a means to an end to get that briefcase off of Otis, which was another mistake this year. So they decided to do that. Fine. Miz drops it, does his cash in, thought he was going to be able to make it in. Didn't work. The Omos character comes into play and ruins the whole thing for the Miz. which is one part of it. But then again, with Omos coming into play, you know, Drew McIntyre still is able to go and get through, even with the help. So it's really almost just working with The Miz, and then that was it. I mean, AJ Styles, good stuff. That was a very good match. That I appreciate. 12 minutes, another 12-minute match. We already had 10 minutes 2 weeks ago on SmackDown with Carmella and Sasha Banks, only to have Sasha Banks win by submission clean. Now, of course, the sommelier was interfering a little bit. The Carmella character still works for me. Now, I might be one of the few people I've learned that actually probably like the character, and that's fine. But I think there's room for Carmella to grow this character, the sommelier, the whole idea. This works. I think it can work, and I think they can keep working with it. They just need to do more of, you know, it's something where she's become the female Alberto Del Rio, but a blonde version, like an American blonde version of Alberto Del Rio. That's what she is right now. That's okay, but that's really what she's become. It's not like the company's doing new ideas. Again, they're no different than what you see on TV right now. They're going to remake Fantasy Island. They're going to make LA Law. They're going to remake Night Court. I mean, that's the normal thing. People are just kind of just going back to the well, finding something else they can do. So that's what we're getting at right now. Think about this. If Bruce Pritchard's working right now on some of the content here, or we're seeing other people, I'm starting to see similarities to certain characters. And there's two right there. Bray Wyatt feels like Kane, a bad version of Kane. Carmella feels like Alberto Del Rio in the same way. Sasha Banks winning was the right move. And I don't know where Carmella goes into this next, if they do anything. But again, if it's just Sasha wins, that's the blow-off. What else do you have next for Sasha? I mean, do they reheat this feud? I don't know. But I don't necessarily need to see one, right? I don't know if you do, but I don't seem to see it. Let's give Sasha Banks somebody else to work on for WrestleMania season. It's not Carmella. Pretty obvious there. Hurt Business win the Raw Tag Team titles over the New Day. This is just a toss-up. You could toss the belt to whoever you want. Won't make a difference out of me to make me interested. It just is. It's just their match. Again, the overexposure of all these stars right here on Raw just make this match just so meaningless. Doesn't mean the match wasn't good, but again, I just, you know, we're not starting to associate certain stars with really bad wrestling on Raw. It's kind of hard to go ahead and grade on a curve, and really hard to look at stars on Raw and say, man, there's somebody really to enjoy it. Again, Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles, that's it. To me anyway. Otherwise, I don't know what else to tell you. Then you have the women's tag team titles, and Asuka and Charlotte Flair comes out to a company, which kind of figured out was going to be happening at some point. So Charlotte Flair's back. She's now tag team champions. Asuka now has a double belt once again. It's just there. I mean, the belts don't mean anything much. There's nothing special, nothing that makes a whole lot of storyline development material here at all. The matches are just matches, and we just see matches upon matches upon matches that mean nothing in the lexicon of WWE. They just do that. This is the thing. They just put matches out to put matches, and they just kind of still blow out and do things. I mean, this company really, if you want to talk about making some changes for next year, I mean, at this point, WrestleMania season's here upon us. It's coming up in 3 weeks. There's nothing they can do more than just go back to, let's get your top stars, get your main feeds ready to go. Let's ramp up WrestleMania season. Not much else we can do. But the truth is, this company's in bad need of some turnaround. They really need some restructuring of how the programs are built. Maybe not so much SmackDown, because it is finding its way back, and it's starting to get itself at a good spot when it comes to ratings. Now, we're not going to know what SmackDown's ratings on FS1 were as a go-home show to TLC, but again, for the most part, SmackDown's ratings have been fine going into the Christmas season, so that's not bad. Again, the dead times here the next 2 weeks, that's what we are. Now, what they really need to do is, I think, the Attitude Era feel of the format and the fact that they need to go and give out so many big matches or so many top stars in their matches. We got to have squashes again. They need to go ahead and just, you just need to see your stars out there, but give them other people to go up against. Why are the feuds continuously going where the two stars are taking on each other and continuously confronting each other? And there are no TV feuds that are just TV feuds. I mean, there are, but again, it's just like, we're going to put those two with those two. We just can't, we don't have the threshold. We don't have the mental capacity to develop complex, interwoven storylines and arcs with any wrestler right now. Maybe main eventers, but that's about it. And so maybe they need to do something where they have an overarching arc. I mean, that's what has always worked for them as well, is when they've had storylines that have dealt with an underlying storyline, right? When they've had factions, when they've had groups, and they put things together where there are multiple feuds in this particular faction or whatnot, or commissioners or general managers, and they get themselves involved in certain things that just kind of build up. I mean, maybe there's no ultimate answer. It's because WWE has to do things a certain way, and people are programmed to see things a certain way. But they don't build up any matches on television. They don't give you a build up to matches on television, let alone properly build up suspense, make you wait for matches to happen. That's the biggest problem that they have. And if you even did that, that would help build some interest in the stars that we have and like trying to build heat. There is no heat in any of the booking that they do. And if the heat's there, it's cheap heat, it's quick, it's nothing. And that's what they needed to go and do right now to build off anything. Heat for the baby faces, make the baby faces overcome sometimes. Let the heels build on that heat, but build real heat. Make people pissed at them. They're not. They don't want to do that. If you do it, you only focus with a couple of stars that you actually do that well with. Baby faces, Drew McIntyre's your guy. Roman Reigns, that's your heel. That guy's got real heat. Jey Uso is attached to that real heat that Roman Reigns has. Because Kevin Owens didn't really bring much to the table. It's not his fault. Again, Kevin Owens is still better as a heel. But again, working in this match tonight with Roman Reigns was very well done. It was actually really good. Kevin Owens, basically, just falling apart, still being able to overcome over and over and over against Roman Reigns. You made Kevin Owens stronger. That's good. That's pretty good. You needed to help Kevin Owens build up a little bit. But now, with Roman Reigns, this guy is starting to help out stars that he's working with. I think him and Kevin Owens worked out well together. And now we go down the line. Roman Reigns will then drop off Kevin Owens. Maybe they'll do a little, last minute kind of thing for the end of the year. But for the most part, we lead him to what? Goldberg? Is that where we go? I guess. And that's fine. I don't have a problem having that match. If they want to build up to Goldberg, that's fine. And Goldberg comes in as a face? Sure. That's fine. That works for me. So you got that there for you. You got Sasha Banks. You got Drew McIntyre. Again, those are 3 stars I'm interested in. Sasha Banks, you made me interested in because, even with all the stuff with Bayley and all the stuff going on beforehand, just to see her come back and the back and forth, Sasha Banks is good right now. For me, Roman Reigns is top star. Just about any federation as well. And Drew McIntyre, say what you will, strong babyface. He's a strong character right now, strong main eventer. So having all those 3 have the belts, sure. Asuka, I think it's a matter of time where Asuka and Charlotte Flair will take on each other again. And that'll be good. You can build that up. Sasha doesn't have a particular opponent that you could talk about going into WrestleMania time. I don't know what you do, but we see where things are right now, and that's fine. I didn't bring up the 8-man tag team match. That's just, I'm not going to talk about it. It doesn't matter. Faces won. And so overall, this company needs a lot of help in really building some heat for mid-carders, building some heat for a lot of different things. So lacking. I mean, if you need to have gimmicks for certain matches to make them something, you have your championship matches, and then you have to have gimmicks that are so gimmicky to make anybody really care. Well, then it's just a gimmick that gets over. It's not the wrestlers. What's the purpose of this? So you got the Fire got over tonight. That was the wrong thing to get over. And I mean, honestly, it's attention to detail. They need to go ahead and spend more time on individual feuds. Why the creative team is all working as a committee, working on main storylines, and then the rest of the storylines are just kind of just cannon fodder, right? It is. There's the big explosion in the main event. Then there's ashes for the rest of the show. That's all they're working on. They're not working on a fireworks display of multiple fireworks, big fuse, boom, 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 throughout the night. This company, they need to go ahead and start delegating their creative team, some of their writers, they need to go and be put into pairs, work on storylines, work on other things, and then execute said storylines. Damn it. You have all these people you have writing for you. You have all these people that are doing other things. I mean, really. And then most of all, the person that's supposed to be, most cognizant and understanding of his own business, well, the business is starting to get ahead of him. Okay? The way the business is supposed to be run in 2020 is getting ahead of Vince. Vince, seriously, Vince McMahon, worry about WrestleMania. As for the rest of the time, what you should expect is not to be day-to-day omnipresent over everything that's going on, every little minute detail. What you should say to your people, to Triple H, Stephanie, your creative team, your production team in general, what you should say is, listen, these are stars I want built. Make them stars. Make them somebodies. So I can take these chess pieces, I can play the chess game I want. There was a time where some of the stars, back in the 80s and 90s, they would kind of help build on their own characters, and they would work with other writers to help make that possible. What's most important as well, and this continues to go along with everything that goes on, the wrestlers need to be able to go ahead, think outside the box. And again, what are you there for if you're not trying to be champion? What are you there for? I mean, really. The tag teams don't mean much to me at all. The tag team division is just weak. I would much rather start seeing much less of tag teams on the shows. See much more singles action again. Less time in the ring. Let's get some more development of stars. Let's start building some vignettes, or even not just vignettes, but start building some things to help build heat or build some shine on these stars. How many times out there hear like the Dave Meltzers and Bryan Alvarez of the world? Yeah, greatest roster ever. Amazing talent in WWE. Oh, doubt about it. They are handicapped with the style they have to wrestle. They are handicapped with the amount of attention being given to each of them. Now, if they only care about getting around and like being like an Olympic Village and, they get to go and screw around with each other because they're hot looking people and they want to go ahead and bang each other between each other, marry each other, whatever, sure. But that is not what they should be there for. That and the paychecks only to be held away from other companies that will be able to book and create better stars out of them than you could. You are stifling growth, stunting development of stars. It's amazing how many times we see stars get developed somewhere else, only for them to come into WWE with some shine, and then they were able to come back and be something important. And listen, Lashley's not a big a deal in WWE's eyes, obviously, for whatever reason, but you know what? They have a U.S. Championship title on him. They have Drew McIntyre. After his time in Impact Wrestling, he became a champion after all that time. Just saying. Otherwise, you have stars within your NXT, which does get some praise, and you bury each and every one of them. Besides the Shield and the Wyatt family, everybody's been buried. Everybody's been buried. To the point where you can't get any NXT stars wanting to come on up and help contribute to the failing product on Raw. And to what's obvious now is the very lacking ceiling on SmackDown. There is a ceiling on SmackDown now. Raw is full of misfits. You have stars that have been turned into retreads because you have failed them as a creative unit. You have failed them in the basics of booking, the ABCs of booking. How about that? Where is proper booking anymore? Where is continuity? Where has it ever been in over a decade in this company? You used to build heat. You used to give people momentum. There's no momentum behind anybody. It's been the longest problem they've had in this company overall this year. It's the momentum of having everybody in the middle. Parity. It's funny how they talk about that because in the NFL and the NBA and other leagues, you know, when you're not dealing with, if you're not dealing with a salary cap, right? Like Major League Baseball necessarily has a salary cap. NBA doesn't have a salary cap. They have a luxury tax. NFL has a salary cap. With a salary cap, then basically there are only so many teams that are dominant and big deals. Meanwhile, the rest of the league are in the middle. They're just in the middle. They're just playing each other just to stay around 500. WWE doesn't have to have that. Listen, they don't have a salary cap. They can pay whatever they want. You're paying top dollar for all your stars. Are you getting any investment out of these people? Some of your stars, you're paying $500,000. Are you getting your investment back? Are you getting your ROI? Well, then, damn it, who is in the creative room that's looking after the company's best interest? Is corporate just going to just worry about process and protocol, or are they going to worry about profits? At what point do you say to yourself, you know what? We need to finally make some changes here. 1.5 million viewers on Raw. Oh, shit. This is what TLC is. At the end of the year, you want to be kind of in some kind of a feel like, okay, we've kind of wrapped things up, some closure to some of the feuds they have because WrestleMania season's around the corner. But man, WrestleMania season is not, there's nothing right now that I feel that could save WWE to kind of help build this back up, build things back up. What does WrestleMania season have for us that's going to be interesting to keep people peeled in? Like, what is going to be the rabbit out of the hat coming up that's going to make people say, oh, these are, you know, these are going to be the matches that are going to get people all interested, and the rumored matches are going to be saying, oh, this is what we're going to get that's going to be really good, right? Rumored matches. Rumored matches. And when you started hearing some of those right now, you start asking yourself, oh, okay, so what is there going to be for the WrestleMania rumors out there, right? Back in November, there was a word about the plans for WrestleMania 37, what they were going to do with it. that they might move the scheduled date of WrestleMania out into April next year. Or, make it middle of April as opposed to the end of March. Something like that. And you could book a whole bunch of matches for WrestleMania weekend and see what you can do with it. But it doesn't make a difference. I mean, listen, if you want to look at what matches might be considered going into for predictions, I'm looking at some people that try to bring out what could be done to make, really get things heated back up on this company and get people looking back at WWE once again. Some of the matches I'm looking at right now, some people are talking about, well, Seth Rollins could take on Daniel Bryan. Maybe you move Undisputed Era up. Maybe Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley have a match. No. So you could get Brock Lesnar back. I mean, you got to pay him. And now AEW might want to pay him. We haven't seen Rey Mysterio and Dominic for a little bit. Maybe Ronda Rousey might be returning. But look at what we're talking about as potential ideas as to what you could do to get things back on board. Right? Let's bring back Brock Lesnar. Let's see if Ronda Rousey will come back. Really? Is that what we're looking at? Edge might come back from injury. We'll get him back. They sound all like part-timers to me, don't they? Yeah, they are. That's why they are, because they are. So sure, you think part-timers like Ronda Rousey and Brock Lesnar and Edge all coming back, you think that's going to make much of a difference? You think if John Cena comes back, you think that's going to make much of a difference in WrestleMania season? Do you really? Do you really? What about the stars that are going to be around after they're gone? I mean, I'm just repeating questions that I have asked myself previous episodes, previous years of this program. Fans, are you tired of feeling like a broken record at the end of every year? The managed continued decline of WWE, which has been going on since 2001. Really, it's been that long. When has there been an upswing in that point since after WCW that has brought things back up? Well, there hasn't. And look, AEW is not doing anything super special. Like, Inner Circle is not NWO. There's no Eric Bischoff trying to go ahead and destroy you. No, AEW is in their own lane, in their own avenue, doing their own thing. And they're starting to bring some big stars in to try to go and build things up. They just got Sting into the mix. They're trying to get Shaq involved in the mix. Hey, the attention is on AEW right now. And because of the fact that AEW is not trying to create a war, they're not doing anything to go ahead and attack WWE, are they? No. Maybe take a little pot shot here and there, but that's really all. Otherwise, nobody's talking about them. AEW is in their own lane. They are doing their own thing. And for WWE, they're not going to have the advantage of having a WCW type opponent that's going to go ahead and, they can go ahead and do something different against. They don't even know what different is. They're doing same old, same old. You made the mistake of trying to hold on to talent. And listen, even that talent, for the most part, the guys that you held over. Let me just put this point. Of all the layoffs that you had from March, the furloughs that became layoffs, the post-WrestleMania layoffs, right? Who in that company that was around has moved in and done something significant for AEW? Nobody. Because, again, I don't see AEW doing anything building off of WWE stars. Sure, Jericho, Moxley, sure. Omega wasn't. Darby Allin wasn't. MJF wasn't. Sammy Guevara wasn't. Orange Cassidy wasn't. Had nothing to do with WWE. FTR, yeah, you could say that, but I think they did a better job with FTR. Miro, we don't know what they're going to do with him yet. We're not sure. Lance Archer, well, you can't really count that because he came from New Japan. If you want to talk about a company using former WWE stars and you feel like they're still former WWE stars, sure, look at Impact Wrestling. They got Brian Myers, Good Brothers, Heath, Rhino. But they're not being made anything bigger either because they're using their own bread stars. Hey, Rich Swann, Chris Bay, Willie Mack, Moose. You know, they're doing their own thing over there, right? Doesn't make a difference. I mean, Deonna Purrazzo, but she came from NXT. But who else? I mean, the thing is that this company was more worried about trying to keep control. You've lost control by what you've done in 2020. You've lost control of the wrestling spectrum. The landscape of wrestling, you have lost your way. You're only on top of the heap because of your legacy. And you've been living off of that for 20 years. You'll be 20 years exactly come March 26th. At what point do you say to yourselves, we can't just say change. We have to fundamentally transform. This is an Obama phrase. Fundamentally transform the way we do our wrestling. That's a pretty good question. Do you have anybody in that company, Vince, Hunter, Stephanie, do you have anybody in that company right now that is a visionary, that is looking towards the future of this company? Listen, God bless Vince McMahon for what he's done for wrestling, but he's been doing it, you know, it's been 40 years at the top. Hey, man, thank you for everything. It is time for you to pass the scepter. It is time for you to relinquish the throne. Chairman Emeritus, okay? No, I'm not taking retirement, but you know what? Become a Chairman Emeritus. Don't be the active chairman of the board. Leave it to somebody else. And now pull back and only focus on the WrestleMania card. Remember the big 4 pay-per-views. Take yourself, you have to delegate, Vince. Pull yourself off month to month, day to day. What you want are progress reports. And then you tweak and you say, okay, I want this, more out of this person. And you tell them, these are the stars I want that are going to be whatever they're going to be. Make them the stars I want, because these are the people I'm getting behind. And these are the ones I want to confidently be able to book into Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, if you count Survivor Series still. Or Money in the Bank. So think about it like that. The company's got so much. I mean, again, the visionary work is in what they've been doing with their content on the network. Because, again, they still do an amazing job on the network. There's no doubt about that. Merchandise, they're doing what they're doing. They don't have their live shows. But, again, the network is still the darling of what they're doing right now. And those damn broadcast deals that are stellar. The creative, the booking, that needs to get all changed. TLC only made me want to go and talk about that. I can't think of anything else. Not much else I can say about it. Now, I want to go ahead and talk a few minutes about Ring of Honor's Final Battle and talk about that. And I don't think there's anything else I'm going to be saying too much when it comes to WWE this year and the way things finish up. We'll see what happens, between now and Wednesday night. But I think I'm going to continue my wrestling year in a review and get back into how things happened during the pandemic and how things were handled by all these different companies and how they did and see what things worked out. We'll talk about that coming up this Wednesday going into Thursday. Now, I want to say this too. I've been making some work to the website, WrestlingIsReal.com. I thought I did a pretty good job of doing a little bit of adjustment. So if you go to the website now, WrestlingIsReal.com, you'll see now that I, again, changed the logo. I thought commissioning a new icon in tribute to the 8th anniversary of the series. I said, you know what? I want to change it up. So color scheme's the same, a little change, feel a little more, almost like an AWA kind of feel to it. I figured that's a good change to it. I like it. Old school with a nice look, clean. So I have that up there. Now, with that said, we're looking at, on the website, I took the iHeartRadio embed player because I just thought I had a good look for what I was looking for on this. So you can see the most recent episodes. You can find more. And then you'll see wrestling headlines I have available for you that are coming from Fightful.com. And links to subscribe to the show, which are so many. Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. And you can also, again, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm all there for you. And remember, you can also find me on YouTube. Actually, I should put the YouTube link in there as well. YouTube.com/JBRASCO951. That's where you'll find all of my content. Okay, so all of my podcasts, I put them up there, not in a video format, but you could just see mostly, video versions where I just kind of just put it up there, put the voiceover over a graphic and just go through it. But again, I have it on YouTube as well. It's just another place to go and have all the content. More eyeballs on the product. So anyway, going into Ring of Honor's Final Battle, I only caught half the card because from where I was trying to find the rest of it, I only was able to see half of it. So I didn't see the Ring of Honor World TV title survival match, four-corner survival match. Tony Deppen won. I did not see Foundation defeating Fred Yehi and Wheeler Yuta in a Pure Rules tag team match. And I missed the Foundation, which now the new group, a faction that's now standing out in the company with Jonathan Gresham and Jay Lethal heading it, along with Tracy Williams and Rhett Titus. Tracy Williams and Rhett Titus won beyond the bat of the Foundation. Another tag team title with the Foundation, Jay Lethal, Jonathan Gresham, who are the World Tag Team Champions, defeating Mark Briscoe and PCO. And I also missed Ray Orris defeating Dalton Castle. So I missed all that. No. I also missed the OGK, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, defeating the Righteous, Vincent and Bateman, in a grudge tag team match. I only caught the end where Mike Bennett got hurt and getting his ankle hurt. That's about it. What I did see was Dragon Lee defeating Tony Deppen for the Ring of Honor World TV title. Pretty good match. Tony Deppen was an impressive wrestler. Didn't know much about him, but, it was good. Shane Taylor defeating Jay Briscoe in a very physical match. Shane Taylor is still signed to Ring of Honor for a while, so I think for Keith Lee's sake, I think Shane Taylor, if there was any way to get him out of the contract and get him over with Keith Lee over in WWE would be helpful, but I don't think that would be helpful at all. I think what will happen down the line is maybe Keith Lee and Shane Taylor will find each other as free agents outside of their respective companies, and they'll go to like an AEW or something like that for all we know. Or they'll team up once again. I don't know. So I feel like something like that. Because I think Keith Lee, the opportunities with him were only in NXT because they were going to mess him up on the main roster. And here's the other thing, is that what do you do with this Keith Lee and fit him in? They're trying to make him another big, strong guy. Another Braun Strowman. Right? That's what I feel like they're trying to do with him. He's just a super heavyweight. And they want to keep making him a super heavyweight without letting him do any of his aerial acrobatic type moves. They just see him like that. And I guess the only thing that can be done, and listen, Keith Lee, it's not against you, man. But I can already tell you, Vince just sees the gut on you and he wants you to drop it. That's why Otis, you're seeing him get slimmed down as well. That's about the only thing that's going to be able to happen. That's just the way this company is. It's not right. It's discriminatory, absolutely. But I think the only way people are going to look at that WWE is going to get a different look on Keith Lee as the organization, as the corporate entity that it is Keith Lee's got to slim down. That's all there is to it. It's not fair, but that's just the way it is. It is what it is. Jonathan Gresham also wrestling a second time tonight, defeating Flip Gordon by referee stoppage, Pure Rules match. The Pure Rules thing, predetermined match. Sure, the way it's set up is an interesting way. I mean, to watch it is fine. I'm not necessarily so into it. I think if you had a crowd for this going on, that might be a little different, but Pure Rules is fine. I don't think I don't think I would have been interested in the whole tournament that they did. It's, really the purity of the sport of professional wrestling is like watching 50s wrestling. I got it. I get it. Not my cup of tea. But I'm sure it's very good. And listen, they got good stars. They got some good wrestlers in there. They got some good wrestlers, nevertheless. And then Roosh beats Brody King in a very good match for the Ring of Honor World title. Roosh, still badass. And that's where they are. So, I mean, they got some stars in there, and they're doing some things. Again, Ring of Honor, they've kind of built themselves back up to something similar to where they were before. Again, they still don't have Marty Scurll. I don't know whether they're going to bring him back into the mix, if he's going to come back or not, after all the things went on with him. So, again, there's not much of an identity for Ring of Honor. Got a bunch of Mexican stars, and you have some other stars that are in the mix. So a little bit of a worldwide function, like a very global feel to the stars and the roster. A lot of stars you don't see in there right now. No Silas Youngs, no Beer City Bruisers, no, I think they have focused on some of the stars they really want to have, which is good. Jonathan Gresham is very good. Long time in the business, too. Flip Gordon is very good. Dragon Lee quite good. Roosh, great. They've lost the mix with Dalton Castle, I feel like. Matt Taven, again, you had him at such a high point going into that Ring of Honor Supercard with the G1. And, I don't know, Matt Taven was never kept that high for whatever reason. It is what it is. So, the final battle was interesting. It was not a bad show. Definitely you can go and catch it and watch yourself. Rick and Bonnie, the over-the-top announcing on that show. But other than that, and Danhausen, I don't get the character that makes him so special. Again, it's just indie-rific. That's all I saw about that. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Again, we will continue with the Wrestling Year in Review. Anything that comes out after the fact from the matches and all the things that are going on with Dynamite and with Raw this week, leading into, and maybe anything NXT brings to us. We'll go ahead and bring up all that. But anyway, we'll leave it there. Thanks for listening in. Find the shows you always do. Come back for another Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us.
Thank you for listening to the Wrestling is Real podcast. Follow the King of Podcasts on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and on Facebook at Wrestling is Real. Subscribe to the Wrestling is Real podcast through all major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also look for episodes on his YouTube channel, youtube.com/JBRASCO951. You can find all this information and more by going to the website, WrestlingIsReal.com.